I have a bad news for you today. There are some riffs from Black Sabbath that probably you're playing them wrong, or maybe right. But first you need to check this video out and watch this until the end to figure it out if you are still on the track and you are playing the riffs of Godfather Tony Iommi correct or they are still wrong. Hey everybody, it's Amir. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today we are going to discuss about the riffs that probably you are playing them wrong. And by you, I mean I myself as well. A few weeks ago, I uploaded the video on my YouTube channel about the riffs that you are playing them wrong. And those riffs were related to Metallica. As I explained there, this is the series that I started on my Instagram in terms of the short content. And as we had a discussion and in the comment box and in the DM and stuff like that, I understood that it's better to explain these kind of mistakes or explain these kind of details in a long content for the people who cares. And I explained there as well, this is something that we need to get a full grip of the riff, full grip of the details. Doesn't matter it's a riff or it's a solo, but by the time it helps us to write better songs, write better riffs, understand the details and understand how details matter in terms of the songwriting. So maybe whatever you are playing, it sounds correct, it's normal, it's okay, but when you jump into the details, you understand that why that song or that riff bounced out, or why that riff is really immortal in the history of rock or metal. And that's the same thing for the Black Sabbath or other bands or other riffs that we are going to discuss further on. So don't get upset, probably you are playing them wrong, probably you are playing them right. And by you, I mean I myself as well, because I was the one of people that when I remember I started to learn the songs by listening to them or by ears straight or not checking the tabs that much into the deep, or I got a tab but the tabs were not correct. That ended up for myself to play some riffs for a long time, for 10 years, for 15 years in a wrong way. Maybe in the next episodes I explain why I started this series into the details. There was a one click, or let's say one milestone, that I decided to start such a series and to start to talk about that, and I understood how significant it is. So today we are going to discuss about the Black Sabbath riffs, Black Bloody Sabbath riffs. We are going to talk about the riffs which have been wrote by Godfather Tony Iommi. This guitar is on a C# standard. I'm going to go through all of the riffs on this guitar, but I explain before I go to each riff that what is the standard, or let's say signature tuning of the guitar, and according to that you can change your, or you need to change your tuning on the guitar. So the first riff that I want to talk about it today, it's Children of the Grave. The tuning is C# standard, one of the classic tuning of Father Tony Iommi. To me that sounds absolutely correct. That was the way that I started to learn the song, by listening to the main record. But unfortunately I have to say that that's not correct way, and I saw this way a lot, that people try to play the song. But what is the correct way? There are two details in this riff that you need to take care of that. The first thing is about 7th fret of the 5th string. So on the first two palm mutes that Tony Iommi plays, it's going to be, it's absolutely zero. So everything is mute, it's only, and when it goes after the first two palm mutes, you need to keep the 7th fret of the 5th string like this. That's the first thing. And what is the second thing? Instead of doing on the 5th string, you need to play this on the 6th string. And what is the reason of that? Probably you say that is the same note, or what is the difference between this and that? When you play on this string, you have the higher gauge. By higher gauge, you are going to have more fatty sound, and that helps to build the sort of riff like Father Tony Iommi. So instead of doing, there's a difference in the resonance. I understand the notes are the same, everything. I mean the whole power chord, it's the same. But when you play on the low string, on the 6th, it's much more fatter compared to that one. So in the slow mode, instead of doing, it's going to be and the correct way will be I think that's fixed. So the second riff is about the era of great Ronnie James Dio. Some people used to play like that, and still I see that as well. But the way that you play this, according to the references that we have from Tony Iommi, that won't be correct. Because when you go to the classic Black Sabbath, most of the riffs have been played on the 6th string. And that was the same thing that I talked about it on the Children of the Grave, that instead of doing, you need to do, and I mean, naturally, when you want to play Black Sabbath, you think that, okay, I need to jump to the low string and move on that. But on this one, it's for the time that Tony Iommi, I think, changed his mind, and he tried to use more tension, or let's say have a long scale of resonance compared to the more fat sound on the shorter scale. So instead of doing this, you need to play it on the 7th fret on the 5th string. And there is another thing that you need to take care about this riff. On the first time that he plays on the 3rd fret, after that we have, and on the second time, instead of playing on the 5th fret to do, Tony is playing on the D chord. So if I want to go to the wrong pattern and change it to the correct pattern, wrong one was so the correct way of Heaven and Hell will be what a riff. I think this one also have been fixed. So the third one is the nostalgic one. It's Paranoid. The main tuning is standard E. As I said, I am on C# standard. And what is the detail, or what is the thing that we miss about this iconic riff? To me, that sounds correct. There is no specific thing that we need to be picky about it. But this hammer and pull off, I see this repeats a lot. And I myself played that in a wrong way for a long time, like 12th, 14th, 12th, 14th, 12th, 14th, 12th, 14th. But that's not the correct way. So the correct way is like that. Tony plays through and through, like, and on the one before the last one, he plays. So in the nutshell, it will be I think that's the only thing that we need to take care about this riff. So instead of doing wrong mode, which always through and through, we should do Number 4 is another classic riff from Black Sabbath, and it's Iron Man. That sounds correct. That's the same note. That's the same detail of sliding and stuff like that. That's the same touch. But unfortunately, I have to say that is the wrong way. So this was another kind of riffs that Tony Iommi tried to play on the low string to have more fatty sound, not having the tension. So instead of playing this riff at the 5th string, we need to play this riff on the 6th string. So the main riff will be this was something that we talked already about the riff number 2, about Heaven and Hell, because Heaven and Hell is practically based on the longer scale to have the resonance out of the strings. But when we go to this kind of classic Black Sabbath, it gets more and more and more on the low string. So take care of that and always try to check the tabs or try to see Father Tony when he plays the riff during the live shows. I think that's the best reference that we can play correct all the riffs. So the wrong way was and the correct way is number 5 goes to another classic riff from Black Bloody Sabbath, and it's called Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. That can be correct. There is no specific thing in that riff that you want to be picky. But there is a slight thing that I saw on lots of tabs that they wrote the tabs, I mean the classic ones, on a wrong mode. And that's the reason I picked up this riff. Because when you look at the live shows or when you look at the versions that, I mean, you listen really, really close to the main song, you see that there's something like hammer on instead of doing a slide. And what is the main difference here? So Father Tony, instead of doing, he does, and we have 2 strings here. We have string number 5 and number 4. And he plays. So you see, when you want to compare it in a nutshell from to this, it's not that much different. And I can accept when you put something out like that on social media, people say that, yeah, what's the difference? Both are the same. But I mean, if you want to play like the original, you have to check what are the details and you have to follow them first. Then you can add your gradients if you are on that level that you can put your idea on the original thing and cover that shit, whatever. So the correct way will be touching the 2 strings, number 5 and number 4, and like hammer on, going to the number 7 and number 9. So instead of doing in a normal speed, more or less, it will be that one is not in the original song. So last one for today, it's a sort of bonus, or let's say encore, because I didn't have a plan to talk about this song, or I thought that it's better to generate another video or work on another, let's say, content and discuss about this riff, because I was not really sure if that should be the correct way to play this one. Please put your comments and tell me if you think it's the same thing that I want to talk right now. So this riff is Sabbra Cadabra. I saw lots of ways that people are playing this riff. Sometimes it's really hard to track what is the wrong or what is the right way to play such a riff. So I saw people playing it like, or I saw this version as well, or I saw all of them. But I think, as of checking the main record and as of checking the live shows from Father Tony, this type should be the final version of this riff, which you need to do the hammer on from the second to the third, and then you need to do the slide to the fourth riff. So it's going to be, and then you go, one thing that I think we need to make sure we are playing this correct, it's about those slides that we need to keep in the whole set, not only in the beginning but also at the end, that when we are doing those back slides and in slides. So in a nutshell, we have hammer on pull off, so those hammer on and slide, and then when you want to do the rest of the riff, it's again with the slide. I'm sure, I mean, when you listen to the song, it's not like, I mean, it's not like that. It's, I think that's the correct way to play this riff. Okay, now let me know what are the other riffs that probably lots of us are playing them wrong, or in case you have any other thoughts, please put that in the comment box. In case you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe, share, like, you know the game. Thank you.